Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. This picture came up on my Pinterest feed and I really liked the look of it and thought I could hack this pretty easily. Just need a breadboard. You can thrift one, buy one cheaply, or even make one. And a wooden bowl. I picked this one up at Ross, I believe, for like $8. The bigger the board, the more bowls or plant holders you can put on it. For this one, I'm just going to do one. So this board's about 12 inches across and about 12 inches high. And I picked up this little bread bowl at a flea market. It's about 9.5 inches across. The first thing I'm going to do is just cut this in half. I'll use the other half for another project. If you have a bigger board where you can actually put like 2 holders on it, then you can, cut your bowl in half and use both halves. If you're handy with power tools and you have some wood lying around, you can always cut your own breadboard to size, paint it or stain it. Maybe you have one sitting around the house that you don't use very often. You can thrift one. They're pretty readily available. You can do round, rectangle, square, whatever shape you want. So I just put some painter's tape so I would know how kind of a straight line to follow with the saw. And then I'm going to flip my breadboard over on the back and just trace around the bowl half that I'm using, just to kind of get an idea of where it's going to sit, because I'm going to drill some holes. Now, you can definitely use an industrial strength glue, something like that to hold it on. I'm actually going to use screws. Just depends on the thickness of your bowl and the weight of it. This one's actually pretty thick, so I can get screws in it. If you're using a thinner bowl, you may just have to use an industrial strength glue to glue it on. And in that case, you would just apply the glue to the edge and press it in place on the front. You wouldn't have to do all these steps. So I'm just going to draw some markings so I can pre-drill some holes. I did draw some hole markings at the top, but I'm just going to do the 3 across the bottom. So I'm going to pre-drill these holes from the back to the front, and that way I know exactly where my screws need to go. So I just found some screws in the garage that were going to be long enough to go through the board and into the bowl. I'm sure they're probably not the right screws to use, but it's what I had on hand. And I struggled a little bit with this part, getting it on. I'm not a big power tool user, so trying to figure out exactly how to get the screws in there and get them on the board took me a little bit of time to figure out, but essentially what I did is I just pushed the screws through the board, and then on the back side I just pressed the bowl kind of onto the screws to make an indentation, so I knew where the screw holes would go. And then from there I tried to hold the bowl on and screw the screws in at the same time, and struggled with that for a while, and then realized all I needed to do was drill some pilot holes into the bowl at the little indentions that the screws made, and then the screws actually went in really easily. Just make sure that if you're going to use this method that you're actually screwing the bowl on the front of your breadboard and not on the back. Again, if you have a bigger board where you're going to put multiple bowls, you would just want to space them out evenly, and again, glue or screw them on, or do a combination of both. Depending on how deep your bowl is, you can actually grow live plants, putting some pebbles and some dirt in there and growing some live plants. This bowl is actually pretty shallow, so I'm just going to be using fake plants. This is also a great idea to use for air plants by setting them in there. You could also use this for something other than plants, maybe decorating it with different things for holidays. Putting little pumpkins or leaves in it for fall, or stringing some lights and putting some pine in it for Christmas. So you can really be creative, match your color scheme, kind of your decorating style, and really customize it for yourself. Here you can see I was struggling to getting the screws in, because sometimes I have to make things harder than it really should be. But once I pre-drilled the pilot holes into the edge of the bowl, then it went on really, really well. Since I'm not worrying about putting live plants in there, I didn't bother with like caulking the edge or anything. It really got a nice flush fit on there, which I liked. So from there, I'm just going to fill it with some florals. I'm going to try some different ones. These are little potted plants I had picked up at IKEA. I ended up using this lighter color one. I just pulled it out of the pot. And then I'm going to use some little pebbles from Dollar Tree. Now you can like drill a hole into your bowl so that the little stem will kind of go down into the wood, or just use some glue to hold it in place. And I really love the way this turns out. I think it's a great addition to the decor in my kitchen. And as I said, I hope that this will inspire you, and that you will try a project like this to elevate your decor. So remember to like and subscribe for more great videos, and happy crafting.